Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. We don't do Sadashiva Samarambha in this, right? Do we? Yeah? No. Okay. Because it's not Shankaracharya's. Okay, all right. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaika Karmane. We are seeing how there is no Veda difference in that absolute Brahman, because it is said Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. Ekam Eva Advitiyam Brahma. The three Vedas that are usually seen are Swagada, Sajatiya and Vijadiya Vedaha, iti Trividaha Vedaha Bhavanti. These three Vedas or differences is what makes the universe so diverse. There are various kinds of things like trees, mountains, rivers, rocks, human beings, animals, birds. They are called Vijatiya Vedaha. Jatiya Veda. A man or a human is not a bird, bird is not an animal, animal is not a rock, rock is not a plant, plant is not a hill, hill is not the water, water is not the insect, and things like that. Vijatiya, different jatis, species. Now, among the trees, there can be many different trees. Mango, coconut, apple. So they are called Sajatiya Veda. Of the same species of different varieties. Sajatiya. And if one tree itself is taken, in that itself there are many differences. That is called Swagata Veda. So in itself it is like a branch is different from the leaf, different from the flower, from the fruit, etc. So what makes the entire universe what it is the various kinds of difference, distinctions. And that is the nature of the Jagat. Now, when it is Brahman, it is said Ekameva Advitiyam. What it means is, it does not have Swagata, Sajatiya and Vijatiya Veda. With itself, there are no differences because it is homogeneous, one pure existence and not made of parts. And there is nothing like Brahman. So there is Brahman 1, Brahman 2, Brahman 3. It's not like that. Or tall Brahman, short Brahman,
black Brahman, white Brahman. Makes any? So there are no varieties of Brahman. Third thing is, other than Brahman, there exists nothing. Advitiyam, meaning vijati nahi hai. Jati be, jati niti guna, kula gotra durakam, nama rupa guna dosha varjitam, desha kala vishayati vartiyat, brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chodamani beautifully, Jati niti kula gotra dhuragam. It is far beyond Jati, Niti, Kula, Gotra, Nama, Rupa, Guna. So, na Sagada Beda Hasti, na Sachadiya Beda Asti, na Vijadiya Beda Asti. So that's why it is said, Sadantaram Sajatiyam ta na Vailakshanya Virjanat Nama Rupa Upadhi Bedam Vina Naiva Bitsato Bida. So the difference between objects and the same class can have no reference to Sat, for nothing else exists. One object differs from another on account of its name and form. Nama Rupa Upadhi Bedam, only because of the Nama and Rupa. And when it is Vina, without that, na eva sato bida. It is not possible of any difference at all. Brahman is absolutely without any name and form. So that is the reason why the, in Brahma Samaj, a very well-known group of people who started this Brahma Samaj, especially in Bengal, Brahmo Samaj. So Vivekananda was very much a very active participant in that Brahma Samaj discussions before he met Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. As Narendra, he was a very curious young man. And at that time, Tagore's father was also very active. Rabindranath Tagore's father was also very active Brahma Samaj. And well known also. And young man Narendra, so curious to know what this reality or the truth is. And when he was told that Tagore's father is a very well-known, well-read person, but interesting thing is he was not living in the city, he was living in the lake in a boat. And that is the only place where you can go and see him. Ganga, maybe in the Ganga Genesis or maybe a lake or whatever. So one day, one night, unable to bear his curiosity, Vivekananda, Narendra, he swam and reached the boat and knocked at the door of this person. And in the middle of the night, would not expect that's the middle of the river, lake, somebody knocking at the door. What does it mean? He opened the door and Narendra was standing there. Yes, young man, what is this? I have only one question. Yes. Have you experienced Brahman? Oh, why are you asking? You tell me yes or no. You have that experience. He said no. He didn't even stand there for a next moment. No, he jumped out to the water. Swam across and went back. Such a curious individual he was. But when he was told by his English professor in the university that there lives a person who is considered crazy by people, who is considered to be a person who has experienced that absolute reality as a God, Narendra could not contain his curiosity. I want to meet him. I want to see. And ask only that question. Did you see it? Did you experience it? That's why he was so eager to reach the abode of Thakur, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, to ask him that question. First question is, did you? So that is to say, Brahmanubhava. Even though Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a great devotee of Mother Kali, and he was not ready to leave his practice of upasana of Kali. He was a great upasaka of Kali. Until Totapuri, his teacher, his Vedanta teacher, reached his place and realized here is an advanced soul, but not got that final push to realize that that's absolute reality has no name and form. He will be stuck with this only. So he literally took him away from that practice of upasana and initiated him into the deep samadhi meditation, in which he come to experience the nameless, formless reality. So Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, even though a Devi Upasaka, but when he gained that Brahmanubhava or Brahmajnanam through his teacher, he came to realize that what I have been worshipping as Kali is none other than Brahmaswarupa only, but a step down. But having realized the nature of the reality as without name and form, did not stop him again to go back to the mother, but with a different understanding altogether. You are not the one whom I am worshipping as a form of Kali alone. You are every form, every name. Earlier, he is confined to that particular form and particular name. Upon realization of the Brahman as the nameless, formless reality, the same very Ramakrishna Paramahamsa reached the abode of again Kali only to see her in a totally different perspective. So to say that Nama Rupa, this is Nama Rupa Upadi Bedam Bina Naiva Gato Sadobida. Other than the name and form, there can be no differences, really speaking. And what is the nature of Sat? Sadantaram Sajatiya Na Vailakshanya Varjana. So this Sat, pure existence, is not something which we don't know. We know. Nobody doubts one's own existence. But our present awareness of existence is always conditioned by name and form. As much as we look at ourselves as existing, all right, but only associated with a particular form, and therefore our perception of the world, of everything in this world also, if there is a form, then there is existence. If there is no form, form here does not mean physical form. We know air exists. We don't see it. But air exists because it has the quality of movement, sense of touch. So Panchabhutas are, naturally, they all have their existence because of their particular feature or quality. As we have seen so far, the earth has got maximum number of qualities. Right? Again, all Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandham, all the five are there in the earth. So as far as earth is concerned, we have no doubt anything made of earth is physically possible for us to see it, smell it, touch it, taste it, hear it. So when you go on reducing the number of qualities from water to fire, fire to air, water, earth to water, water to fire, fire to air, air to space, you are reducing the qualities that are there, number of qualities. And then finally, when it comes to space, it has only one quality, sound. But even that, which has no other quality, still we believe the existence of space. Even though we don't see it, we don't smell it, we don't touch it. We don't hear it. I mean, we don't taste it. Shabda is alone is there. Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandham is not there. No, when I'm talking to you, you are hearing it. Now you cannot see that sound. You cannot touch it. You cannot smell it. You cannot taste it. That the very fact that you are hearing, you know the existence of sound, and the existence of sound is in space. And therefore, space has only one quality. Even with that one quality, we have to say it exists. But Brahman, which is much before the creation of space, that's why Sadeva Saumya Ida Amagra Asid, Sandokya Upanishad, even before the creation, there was pure existence. Forget even space, forget even sound, existence. What then? If that pure existence has nothing else, Nama Rupa Upadi Bedam Vina Naiva Satobita, without the qualifications which can distinguish a thing from another, object cannot be distinctly seen as existing. Whereas in the case of Brahman, without any of those qualities, independently existing, and that alone exists. And now somebody would say, okay, you said Brahman is of the nature of existence. All right. And as we have seen in the last class, existence and awareness are not two separate things. Existence and consciousness or awareness is a coupled aspect of it. Because if a thing exists and it is not known, it cannot be said to be existing. So existence must have the factor involved in that of its awareness. All right. Now, if you say something else exists other than Brahman, what it is, its nature would be? There is only one so-called, we cannot say even quality. The nature of that Sat is existence. If anything else is there other than that, what is its nature? Non-existence. Okay, now we see. Other than Brahman, there exists, which is called non-existence. Intellectual fallacy, it's called. So here they see in the next verse, it's put this point clearly. Bijati yama sattatu na kalvastiti gamyate. Nasyata pratiyogitvam bijadiyat bidakutah. Bijadiyamasattattu na kalvastiti gamyate. Nasyada pratiyogitvam bijadiyat bidakutah. So vijadiyam asattattu. Vijadiya viruddha jatiya. Viruddha different, contradictory. So of the vijadiya, of the one which is not Brahman, other than that, na kalu asti iti gamyate. Asti iti na kalu gamyate. It cannot be said to be asti. Because other than sat, if you say anything else is, it is asat. So how can you say, therefore, other than Brahman, something exists with its nature is non-existence? It's a logical flaw, and also there is nothing to argue about that with you, because intellectual, as I said, that logical fallacy will take place here. Na asya ataha pratiyogitvam vijadiyat vidakutah. So the word pratiyogitvam is explained in the in the book where you clearly, if you see the commentary, notes, as he says, a pot is not a canvas. The children play, no? Stone, scissor, and paper. What is that they do? What is it? That's something they do. What? So let us say a paper is there and a stone is there. So paper and stone are two different things. This paper does not have stoneness. So paper needs to, if it has to relate to stone, it needs to have the stoneness. And stone does not have paperness. Correct? Here he has given the example of canvas. So when a canvas or a paper, when it is seeking for the pot, so a canvas is an anuyogin to pot, and partness which it needs is called pratiyogi. It's a technical word. So anuyogin, it is seeking for pot. And because it is, for to become pot, it needs partness. That partness is pratiyogitva. Similarly, if the pot wants to become a paper or a canvas, what it is seeking is to become a pot. The paper wants to become a pot, and what it is looking for is partness. And canvas wanting to become pot, that's what the case. So the pot wanting to become a canvas, that is called anuyogin, and what it seeks for is pratiyogitvam, is canvasness. All right. Now, if you say there exists something which is Sat, that Brahman is Sat, and the other one which is said to be there according to you, that one, to become this, to become Sat, what it seeks is Satness, existentness. Pratiyogitva. or the Sat wanting to become Asat. What it wants to look for it Asatness, non-existentness. Now the problem here is a thing doesn't exist. How can it become Sat? Or that which exists, how can it assume the quality of non-existence? Because by very definition of Sat is what? That which does not change. That which is always there, that is what is called Sat. So pradiyogitvam nagamyate. That's what it is. Na asyadaha pradiyogitvam. There is no possibility of a pradiyogitva in that asat, because by nature it is asat. It doesn't exist. I want to wear the flowers that are found in the sky. You make all attempts to do that, to get sky flowers. Or somebody would say, I am in search of the horns of a rabbit. I want to make it as my collection. In my home, I want to make collection of what? The horns of a hare, a rabbit, she-rabbit. Decorate my house with that. What are you planning to do? You can go on spending the entire life with nothing. Because the pradigo yugitvam is not there. It's the absence. Therefore, here it is to be understood about non-existence. We cannot say that there's something that exists. So it cannot serve as a pradiyogin. If so, how can there be vijati? And since there is no other for which is want of. See, Sat is not in want of something. And if Sat is in want of something which doesn't exist, it's no want. The difference cannot be there because there is nothing else to differ it from. That is the nature of the reality. That's why Advitiyam. Sadvastu Advitiyam, of the nature of non-duality. So here it says, no, here our point of discussion is Atman Brahman, which is Sat existence, to be the other or another in relation to it, the other being must be lacking in the total characteristic of Sat or existence. That is, it must be non-existent like a square circle. What characteristics can square circle have? Hence, Atman Brahman cannot have Vijatiya Veda. There cannot be anything else existing because the nature of the other one is non-existent. Are Swamiji ठीक है? मैं समझ लिया. अच्छा समझ लिया. Okay. What is his nature? So it is established what? Nature of Brahman is Sat. See, the thing is, those people who say it doesn't exist, they don't exist. That's what Vedanta says. You think Brahman exists? No. Then you don't exist. Why do you say? Because unless you exist, you cannot say that it exists or not exists. It is as much as seeing, Swamiji, I'm seeing all the different colors and shapes in this world, but I don't have eyes. The very fact that you exist and then you say, I don't exist, there is no existence. It is that kind of a foolishness. So therefore, in the next verse, he says clearly, Ekame Vadvitiyam Sat. Idamatra tu kechan, siddhamatra tu kechana. Vihvala asadevedam. Purasi ditya varnayan. Ekamevadvitiyam sat siddhamatra tu kechana vihvala asade vedam purasi dityavarnayan. Idam siddham. Siddham atra. Atra, therefore, here it is established what? Ekameva advitiyam. That is the third part of that statement. Ekameva advitiyam. Advitiyam is the third part. Ekam eva advitiyam. That statement is proven now. Ekam eva advitiyam. Eva sajadiya rahitaha. Ekam, eva is sagada bedaha. Ekam sajadiya bedaha vedarahitatvam. And advitiyam iti vichadiya vedarahitatvam. There is no difference within itself, with difference with another one, because and the second one other than that doesn't exist. All right. But kechana, some people, vihvalaha, confused. And what they say? Asadeva idam puram pura asit iti avarnaya. They have established or spoken about, in the beginning there was only asat, non-existence. So now you may wonder, who will say such things? Gurudev always said, if at all there is anything in this world which you experience, it must have come from something which was present. So nobody in this world can say, I did not have a mother or father. I do not have mother and father, you can say. But I did not have mother and father, nobody can say. Karanam vina karyam katam bhavati. Without the karanam, cause, how can there be an effect? See, when you show your marriage photo to your son, he will ask, where was I? And you can say you were not there. But the boy, the young son, daughter or son, cannot say you are not there. Without you, I would not have been here. You cannot deny the source or the karanam. No, so therefore, Gurudev would say, if you say a thing exists, obviously, before this, there should have been a cause that was existing before this. In other words, karana and karya sambandha in the relationship, karana is always old. Older than the karya, correct? Cause is older than the effect. One boy given to his father and said, I'm very, very unhappy about one thing. My brother, elder brother, is always older than me. How is that possible? One day I need to become older than him. Sorry, you just can't do it. So because, I mean, a brother, so I want to be older than my father. That is not possible. Karana is always before and Karya is later. So if you say a thing exists, obviously the Karana for that must be existence. From nothing, nothing alone can come. If at all there is something, that some existence was before. So obviously the conclusion of Upanishad is what? Sad alone was there, existence alone was there. Why do then anybody would deny this? You may wonder. Vihvalaha. Confused. There are some people, kechana, vihvalaha, asadeva idam, purasididi avarnayat. They talk about. And these people who talk about asat as the one which existed before, called shunyavadina. They are called shunyavadins, Buddhists. You know why? I'll tell you, as much as I understand, The moment you talk about existence before creation, you have to accept God. You would call it whatever name, it's God or whatever you need to call. You have to accept existence of God. And Buddhism essentially built on Anishwaravada. Anishwaravada. There is no God. And now, today's world, many people take to this argument of the Buddhism, not because they understand the fallacy of the Buddhist philosophy, but they want to deny the slavery to God. Why do you think that people who are in religion like Christianity or Islam or Hinduism also, they would like to go to the path of Buddhism because they say, I don't want to accept a mere theory of existence of God whom we worship, adore, this and that. I want to get out of those things and I want to go away to the logical way of thinking which Buddhism provides. True, the path appears to be logic, but the source or the very fundamental point is not logical. Even if you take the path of science, they may say, they may give all acceptable theories and explanation about the creation, but they can never be able to clearly point out this is the cause of creation. They keep on theorizing many, many things. Because they don't want to accept the existence of something before the creation. It's simple, it's as simple as that. So existence was there is the standpoint of Vedanta. Sad asid pura. Pura asid. What is the standpoint of Buddhism? Asad pura asid. There was non-existence. There was only void. So that example that is given here by the text here is, how is this, such people have a very thorough, explanation about the non-existence as the one which was there before. So here it is given in the next verse, verse number, Ekameva idanim stunani kanana nyayena sat advaitameva tridayutum purva pakshamaha atra tu iti. So stuna nikana nyayena. This is a nyaya that is pointed out. I'll find out what that is in the next class. So these people are confused. Why do you say that they are confused by the statement of saying that there is only asat in the beginning? So here he gives an example. Magnasyabdau yatakshani Vihvalani tatasyadhihi Akandaikara samshrutva Nishprachara bibetyataha Magnasyabdau yatakshani Vihvalani tatasyadhihi Akandaikara samshrutva Nishprachara bibetyataha. Yata, just as Magnasya Abdo Magnasya, Abdo in the ocean, Magnasya of the one who is drowning. Akshani vihvalani, his senses becomes completely confusing. Because when you start drowning in the water, your senses will go weird because all the faculties that requires a required amount of prana is not available at that point. Oxygen that is required for you to make your sense organs function properly are not available. Therefore, you get completely confused. Vihvalani. Tata, in the same way, asya dihi, these people also, their mind is like that. They are caught up in some, peculiar kind of mental confusion. When akanda ekarasam shrutva, listening to this one homogeneous essence, nishprachara bibeti ataha, they become completely bewildered, and also they become afraid, nervous and afraid. It is like as though they feel that they are threatened. See, many people do not accept God for two reasons. One, there is no proof. They may say, we don't have a proof for existence of God. All right. And the second thing is, if something exists much powerful, much before anything else, if it exists before everyone else or anything else of this creation, how powerful it would be? Huh? How powerful it would be? I mean, see, a strength of a thing, a power of a thing can be known by how it manifests. So you may see a car going on the road. Then you see that, truck, let us say this, what do you call the GM Brahma truck, the huge one. It's very good. We had one of our members has got one truck, it was so huge. We call it a Ravana Ratha. Huge. So huge. I mean, seriously, it occupies almost 2 parking spaces. Huge. Oh, it's a pickup vehicle. Now, when you see a tanker, what they use in army, only built in pure iron. Okay. When it comes, even this huge, what you call Ravana Ratha, it'll be crushed to nothing but flat. And when it comes and then it comes over that and makes it, you understand its power or not. Sometimes you see the 8, what do you call this, trucks that are in the road. When you are going in your, patla, some vehicle, when that fellow crosses, you will jitter it. That fellow is so huge that is going, whoa. Now, even the created world, they have everything more powerful than one another. Think about the creator. How powerful he is. He creates galaxies, cosmos. How powerful he would become. So they are afraid to accept even the fact that there can be a thing which could be there before the creation. And many times we see people who go to, almost in every religion you will find that there are more than 70 to 80% of the people who call themselves as religious are having fear of God more than anything else. Fear of God. Not love, not reverence, not respect, fear. If I don't do this, Bhagavan will punish me. If you don't do that, Bhagavan will punish me. ये punish करने के लिए वो खड़ा है. Sitting there only to punish him. I'll punish you, and then you'll punish you. He's only there to go on finding who's making mistakes here. So most religion talk like that. Only you know, you will be cursed to go to hell. You'll be forever. You'll be there. So the fear of authority, fear of the power, and also fear of seeing oneself as limited in front of that Lord, that fear. So they get confused completely when they hear. That's what it said. Akanda ekarasam shrutva nishprachara bibeti ataha. Dashtantiki yojayati asya asadvadinaha chadaveka vachanam Jihi antakkaranam akandekarasam vastu shrutva nishprachara sakara vastu ni iva akanda ekarase vastuni prachara rahita sati ataha asmad vastunah bibeti. Sakara vastuni iva, like as the huge forms which can envelop and destroy all other things, they think about the akhanda, mass, divisionless, enormous, homogeneous, huge presence. Even when Arjuna was seeing the Vishwarupa of Bhagavan, in the beginning he saw, oh, you have thousands of hands and thousands of faces and this and that. After slowly, he says, Bhagavan, I'm feeling so afraid. Please come back to your normal form. I can't see this. I'm so afraid. I am unable to speak. My body is shaking. It's impossible for me to anymore look at you like this. So, having listened to that, the indivisible akanda ekarasam shrutva nishprachara pipeti, they become nervous, they become so afraid. So their reason why Asad is the one which was in the beginning does not have a logical explanation. You see, interesting thing is, I happened to discuss this subject with a professor on Buddhism when I was teaching in PRC years back, almost 10 years back. So I asked him this question: what is the theory of creation in Buddhism? He looked at me and said, nothing. So I asked, what do you mean by nothing? You mean to say nothing is there about creation in Buddhism, or nothing is the cause of creation? He said, there is no documentation or the explanation about creation at all in Buddhism. I said, why? Because an explanation is necessary about a thing which is real. He says creation is not there, then what's the need to explain this? For them, the entire whatever we are seeing as this world is, according to them, is one theory is momentary consciousness. A second theory is it is not even there. One is called Kshanigavada, another is called Shunyavada. Shunyavada means that, Vada means argument or school of philosophy. A school of philosophy that holds the view that nothing actually exists. Nothing. Interesting thing is, I asked him, you say nothing exists? Yeah. So nothing exists, is it? Is it, what are you saying? Understand my question clearly. You are saying nothing exists, or there is something called nothing exists. He said, no, nothing exists. No, interesting thing here is nothing exists. It's a very interesting statement. You think about it. Nothing exists. Even nothing has nothingness. Nothing cannot exist. How can nothing exist? Because if nothing exists, its existence is there, no, in that. If you are confused, I really got you. So this is the argument of a philosopher, Buddhist school of thought called, it's going to be taken a little later in the next verse, it is going to come. They are called the path of middle path. Madhyamika, they are called. Madhyamikas hold the view of Shunya. And this was a Buddhist seer known as Nagarjuna. He is the one who started this. And this was followed very elaborately, and that particular school of Buddhism is called Mahayana Buddhism. When Shankaracharya came into the scene in the 8th century, it is said, or much before, according to many scholars, time is not fully determined. But definitely after Buddhism. Why? Because he has given explanation about how Buddhism's view is not right in many places. That means definitely he was after Buddhism. And he had encountered these Buddhist philosophers of his times and proved them wrong, because the spread of Buddhism was so rampant in India at that time. Beyond the rule of Ashoka in 1st century BC or 1st century AD, he himself embraced Buddhism, but because he was the story or the reason that was given was Buddhism was preaching non-violence, etc. And then therefore he was taken to that path much easily after having witnessed some massacre in his own war. So he became so depressed and then dejected, and then he followed this whatever. So, and he officially started to spread Buddhism in India. And so when Bhagavan Shankaracharya, when he came into the scene, it was already, Buddhism was well spread. Essential nature of Buddhism is, as I said, is to establish the fact that there was nothing which is a cause of the creation, which means Anishwaravada. There is no God. When you take the standpoint of no God, in which case what happens? None of the temples, none of the scriptures, none of the upasanas, none of the observations, festivities, nothing is valid. No kind of rituals or tapas or puja or celebrations and festivities and, none. That was the downfall of Hindu culture at that point. Think of it. En masse, there was such a conversion. There is certain amount of, thing we need to blame with the priestly class of Hinduism, who confined themselves to the rituals and only a section of the society can or only are eligible to do, rest of them are not eligible. In this way, when they discriminated, obviously the rest of them felt themselves isolated and they took to Buddhism as a protest. Not that they understood, but they protested. Savior was Shankaracharya. Came to say, you need to prove to me that the creation can be without an origin. You have to prove to me that non-existence can create existence. You have to prove to me you exist without being existence. How much ever argument you put. And so his logic was so strong. Only when we study Shankaracharya, we realize how much he thought about this. How much it is not that he just took the authority of the Vedas and spoke. And it's like Bible thumb, what do you call thumb? What do they call that? Because Bible says so, therefore it is. Because Quran says so, therefore it is. Because Gita says so, it is. No. I will prove by your own logic, I'll prove it. That is how he argued. No doubt he took the authority of the Vedas, but he did not stick to only that. So his contribution to the survival of Hinduism is so vital, so important. He revived the entire thing back. Rituals as well as the temples and temple worship and consecration and study of Vedas, teaching of Vedas and spreading of that knowledge and all that again. It's a major task to encounter the Buddhists. Throw them out of the shores. Move out. Don't stay here. This is a land of the Sanatana Dharma. You are trying to preach the non-existence of God. So the Madhyamika, the people who believed in Shunyavada, also they were encountered by Bhagavad Pada. The next verse is talking about that. How Gaudapada Acharya, that is his grand guru, clearly established the nature of reality, and Bhagavad Pada, Shankaracharya, how he followed that method of teaching and proved clearly. Those things we'll see in the next session. Little abstract it would become because of the nature of the reality is that anything absolute needs to be abstract only. Unfortunately, it's a fact that it is not easily comprehensible by human mind. But that does not mean I don't know, because I cannot comprehend does not mean it doesn't exist. One should not come to that conclusion either. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.